Welcome back to the channel, guys. Kerrod here once again at the Joondalup Resort, and in this video we're going to be talking about casting, or in the downswing, when the angle between the lead arm and the club shaft is lost. This is going to lead to scooping and a whole bunch of ball striking issues. Stay tuned, this one's really going to help. So there's plenty of golfing terms thrown around on the range, and one of the big ones that I commonly hear from players coming into the studio to work on their golf swings is casting. A lot of them think that they're doing that in the downswing, and they're really trying to work on creating some more lag in that downswing move so they can get a little bit more compression to their golf ball, get that ball feeling like it's squeezing between the club face and the turf a little bit better, come off with a little bit more speed and get some more distance as a result. So let's talk about casting first of all. What is casting? Well, in the backswing, assuming all things being equal, let's say I create an angle between my lead arm and the club shaft. Let's say this is represented by an L-shaped structure. If I then swing to the top and then start down, I would be looking to almost maintain, or actually slightly increase, this L-shaped structure. Now from here, casting would mean that the club shaft is moving towards more alignment with the lead arm. As that then position moves down towards the golf ball, we generally tend to see this look at impact. When the club head begins to overtake the handle, the arms bunch up, and we lack shaft lean at impact. This is going to cause you to add a lot of loft at impact. So if this would be the loft that we set up with an address, as the golf club works underneath the handle, as you can see, we're adding loft. So we're turning this 7-iron into something like a 9-iron. But you're also affecting the quality of the strike, because the bottom of the golf swing, or where the club makes contact with the turf, is generally, when we get this casting motion, going to be behind the golf ball. Effectively, the distance this golf club is away from your body is extending further away. And as a result, you're more likely to hit the ground, or if you miss the ground, the club's going to rise and you're going to hit some top shots, but also a lack of ball flight control. So as you can see, casting does indeed lead to quite a few errors and some results which aren't going to help you shoot some lower scores. So how do we work on improving this if you are indeed casting? Now, once again, don't try this unless you know for sure you are casting. Go get a lesson from a PGA professional or an online lesson with myself or someone else, just so you can identify that this may indeed be an area that you need to work on. So what are some of the main causes for casting? Well, one of the big one is an open club face. So what does that look like? Well, if I get to the top of my golf swing and my club face, let's say, is open meaning as a checkpoint, that the club face, as it is in the club shaft parallel position, would be vertical, or even more so in this position here. Now, what we would be looking for in this frame for a square club face to the arc would be the club face turned slightly down to the ground, or close enough matching to my spine angle at address. If I was to have a club face which was open, subconsciously what your body does is it stalls out the rotation, and the club begins to move faster than the handle in an attempt to get that club face squaring back up with your target line. The reason being is that if I have an open club face and then I turn with shaft lean, the face is just going to be way too open and the ball's going to go miles to the right. So scooping can be a direct result of either having a weak grip or in fact some cupping of the wrists. So at the top of the golf swing, when your wrists would be cupped in this fashion and then the club stays open, we then tend to see a lot of players scoop in an attempt to square that club face. Now this, of course, all happens without you sort of thinking about it, because it does happen so quickly in the downswing. So first port of call for those who are scooping is to figure out if your club face is open. Now this is going to be the main one that we address in this video, so I'm going to give you a little checkpoint to see if that's happening. So if you are finding that if you took a video or in the mirror and you stop in this halfway down position and you see that the club face is open, so it's not tilted down towards the ground, it's past vertical into this position, well then what you need to do is you need to learn how to close that club face. Effectively, what you can do is you can get the back of your front hand and turn or rotate it down to the ground, or you can get your backhand and you can actually move it into this position here. Now, when I have that effect, what happens is the club face will start to turn down to the ground. But not only that, from this perspective, from face on, if I'm into a position and the club face is open, if I turn my left hand down and my right hand back, you can see the angle between my lead arm and my club shaft. Well, it tends to get a little bit more acute, therefore improving your ability to not cast the golf club or scoop at the moment of impact. So once again, as we're swinging to the top and we swing down, we're trying to feel that the back of the left hand is moving down or turning down to the ground, and the right wrist is moving back in this fashion. As I do so, that cranks the shaft into a position that creates more of this L-shaped structure. So if you are someone who is tending to cast, once again, it's generally because of an open club face, we would tend to see that we would want you to feel like you're getting your wrists a little bit more organized in a different fashion. And as a result of doing so, what that will then get you feeling is that the club handle's pushing away and we create more of this L-shaped structure coming into the ball. So a lot of the time we see players trying to fix the impact position. So they might record themselves on camera and then they tend to look like this at impact. So the head is passing the hands and their arms are bunched up. So then we see them hit a lot of little punch shots like this where they're exaggerating the handle leaning forward. Now generally when players just work on that without the correct drill, they end up just dragging the handle through the ball, losing speed and not really improving their swing in an effective manner. So a lot of this can happen a lot earlier, and lag is essentially an effect that you're trying to achieve as a result of making some earlier adjustments to what your wrists and the club face are doing. So once again, if you're finding that you're casting the golf club, my first port of call for you would be to figure out what your club face is doing and what your wrists are doing. The easiest way to change this is to be able to stand in front of a mirror, so you're getting some feedback or some video, look at yourself, see if you're creating this L-shaped structure, or if it looks more like a straight line. And then from there, start to educate yourself on how you need to adjust your wrists to then change the angle of that club shaft relative to the lead arm. So from there, what I would suggest you do is swing to the top, swing slowly down, stop in this halfway down position where the lead arm is parallel to the ground, check that your wrists are in a good position, swing a little bit further down so the club shaft is now parallel, and check the club face to see that it's slightly turned down towards the ground. Now from this position, you'll see that the hands are more in front of the right leg. Now this would be generally a checkpoint that we'd be looking for by this stage of the swing, because as you then continue to swing through, you would then get some more compression as a result. So from the down the line view, swing to the top of the swing, swing down from there. If my club face is open, I'm then going to adjust my wrists. I then feel like I'm turning a little bit more down. We're going to get into the club shaft parallel position. I can see that my hands are more in front of my right leg, and then make some little swings brushing through towards the target. So once again, the main cause for casting or scooping coming down into the ball is that you have an open club face. So we need to look to close that club face. You can either check that by doing some work on your grip, or like I said, just here in the downswing position, just have a checkpoint to see where that club face is aiming, make some adjustments with your wrists, and then from there swing through and get a feeling of that club face being a little bit more square to the target line on the follow through. It's going to feel closed for you at the beginning. So I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Please like and subscribe, comment below if you've got any questions. But if you're a scooper, if you feel like you're casting it, try this out and I'm sure it will help. But until next time, I'm Kerrod. Thanks for watching.